So I got this question on my YouTube channel, and I can answer this one. I have heard in the last few months that JFK had a bestie from college who lived at the White House with them, and JFK made a position for the bestie. Have you heard of this? Yes, his name was Lem Billings. He didn't just have a position at the White House, he lived at the White House. He was with them every moment of every day, and it caused problems in the marriage between Jack and Jackie. I mean, just, you can find tons of pictures of the two of them together, and it's like they're together in ways that you know aren't that close with anybody unless it's like your wife or your girlfriend. No, they're on loungers together, and he went everywhere with them. He went on vacations with them everywhere. After JFK died, he went into a real depression. I think he moved, he like got with RFK Sr. for a while, but then, and then he went into full-blown depression. But yeah, he traveled Europe with Lem Billings. Yeah, there's pictures of them in Europe. This is when Kennedy got his fascination with Hitler when he was younger. I think, Kennedy came from the cloth of Yale, right? And Yale doesn't just have skull and bones. They have wolf's head. They have scroll and key. They have book and snake. These are all secret societies. I think the majority of those secret societies at Yale, especially for lawyers, is they're closeted homosexuals. And I think that's what JFK was. Now, I'm not trying to bash that because he would want to hide it back then. But they put this whole image like he's a womanizer. No, I don't think so. And there's very little we were told about JFK, too. He was very sick from the time he was born. He had he had celiac disease, all these GI issues, all these yeast infections. Then he got Addison's disease, a ton of autoimmune disorders. And he had an autoimmune disorder called polygranular syndrome 1 or 2. I get the 1, I think it was. I think it was 2 he had, though. I think they just are saying it's 1. Because they came out and said that, but there's the biggest population to have that because it's a specific, you have to have Addison's, you have to have celiac disease, you have to have yeast infections, it's very specific. And the genetic makeup where you find it the most is in Sephardic Jews. Sephardic Jews come from Portugal, Spain. And I mean, I know they were from Ireland, but here's the thing. Sephardic Jews were persecuted during the Holocaust too. They were sent to camps and all of that. However, they just came from different regions, and the Sephardic Jews either, depending on which country, they either would fall under Muslim control or Catholic control. And if they were under Catholic control, they had to convert to Catholicism. Yeah, because Catholics used to make them do that sometime. Yeah. So if I could see the Kennedys especially being had this specific genetic disorder, and they hid it from the public. They were and it's been said before that we're the Kennedys Sephardic Jews. And I mean, you can't blame them for hiding it. I think that there's probably Jews out there that would hide it, given what happened at the Holocaust. So, you might not want people to know that. However, given that they were Catholic, that would be another reason they likely were Sephardic Jews. Because the Jews can be from anywhere. God scattered them throughout the world. So I think all of that was, wanting to be hidden. Everybody likes to say, well, JFK was going after Israel. Yeah, because he hated Jews. That's why. Now, they like to say that Israel killed him. I don't think we'll ever know who killed him because his dad, Joe Kennedy, had too many ties to mafia interests. I don't think it was the CIA. JFK went into the presidency with a plan to hurt America. And his plan, the first thing he had to do was F up the Bay of Pigs so that he could go after the CIA and discredit them. Because if you read the JFK files, you're like, boy, the CIA was really doing a lot to protect us from communism. I mean, they really were. They were dedicated. J. Edgar Hoover was dedicated to keeping communism out of this country. And yet, well, he was with the FBI. But see, it's the timing is strange because in order for JFK to go after the CIA, he had to mess up the Bay of Pigs and then say it's your fault. And then he started discrediting them. Now who they are, you have a bunch of communists in there and, lifetime appointments in some cases. Communists are running it. But the FBI, on the other hand, MLK went out. It's funny, his timing into the picture because he went after the FBI. So they discredited both intelligence agencies, and those would be the intelligence agencies, well, actually, that did have files on Joe Kennedy. They knew the Kennedys were Nazi sympathizers. And MLK, MLK had talked to J. Edgar Hoover, but J. Edgar Hoover was just honest with him. He's like, no, if you don't want people to think you're tied to communism, then it's very simple. Why do you have people that are your right-hand people that are communists? They were. He had a couple of people in his organization that were tied to communists and that were communists. And so J. Edgar Hoover had every right to monitor him. But I think it was all a plan because after these men died, and I think communists may have killed MLK because then they could further the agenda of making America look like we're racist. Because, if you look at the MLK files, Cuba was loving that. Cuba was saying what a racist country we are. We killed the black man MLK. I think it was likely communists that did it. I'm not saying he deserved it, of course, but I don't think he was on the right side of things because both him and JFK supported bringing black Africans here. MLK, with a bunch of Hollywood people, would raise money to bring black Africans here while disregarding the black Americans. JFK did the same damn thing. So they just were very shrewd about, we'll give a good speech and Americans will buy it, because we usually will, right? But, they could have spent that money or fundraising on, the ghettos or sending, black Americans to Ivy League schools instead of black Africans. But the biggest thing is that by doing that, by the Kennedy Foundation paying for those Kenya flights, those airlifts, well, Barack Obama was on the second flight. What do you know? It's like what they say in the Bible about the little devil gives the bigger devil the power. Because communists, they work slowly. They're very patient to get everything in place. So, yeah, it's like get Obama Sr. here to get Ann Dunham pregnant. And Obama was born in Kenya. He just was. He was. Trump was right about that. What's going to happen with that? Who knows? Who knows? He was more lawless than anybody. He lied to all of us about who he was, where he was born, his name, how many aliases he had, screwing this country over. But before him, JFK was doing it. I've looked at enough of his policies. He was screwing us over. They were progressive. And really, it was the first lawless one was the Kennedys. And you could say they absolutely were, given their ties Joe Kennedy had to the mob. So that's the underworld right there. But they helped give us Obama Jr. Very designed, very crafty, very manipulative, very wicked. And that's why I say the beast already rose. You were living under him for 8 years. And he was the auto pen for Joe Biden for the last 4.